Andrew Coutts from Santam. I look after broker distribution there.
Andrew, technology is switching things up in insurance. How do you see this changing the insurance environment in the next decade?
Technology is definitely making a difference, and I think it's one of the things that we have to get our heads around as an industry. And I think there are four key things I think are relevant to talk about under this topic. And the first perhaps is what we see happening in the rating and underwriting space. The first issue is we're going to have access to a lot more data going forward. And with the access to that data, our ability to rate a client differently is going to come through more and more. We also, in Santam, for example, already have 5 instances of machine learning processes working in the back end. What that does, I suppose, from a rating perspective, it's about understanding your client. If you have a situation where you know what's happened now, and then you go back and say, let's look at the 5 years of data before what we know, and you stick machine learning tools into that data, and you say, find me the link in that data that says, if I knew this and this and this to that known outcome, well, maybe we can then identify that outcome before it actually happens. So the move to predictive analytics and understanding that because we have so much data. We already today import police crime stats, road traffic accident data. We link you into it through grip data into topography lines, so we know your height above sea level. We map you to a fire department, we rate the fire department. So the ability to really understand risk in the future is incrementally more than it is today. And so it's not only about more sophisticated rating, it's also about better client segmentation and selection. We aren't all the same risk. And I guess the old principle of insurance, which says we kind of cross-subsidize each other, is good for those who are more risky, but not so good for the guy who's cheaper. And so really making sure that you're getting the right risk price right up front is critical. Now, and I guess that's where digital and technology is going to fundamentally shift the way we rate, the way we understand you as a risk, and the way that we ultimately price your insurance offering. So rating, underwriting is going to be a key differentiator. So I think the second thing I think it's important to talk about is the impact on sales and distribution over the next 10 years. And I guess one of the things that we will see organizationally is how insurance companies in particular are designed. Many of us are structured around product and channel, but there is going to be a move to forming holistic client-centric organizations where the client really sits at the front. I think we'll see a shift to omni-channel as a result, where the client can shift through the mechanism and channel of his choice seamlessly, so that you end up with one CRM view at the back end of the business and give really the client the ability to manage and understand how they want to interact with us. I think we see a huge move to product flexibility, the ability for insurance on demand. I just want to insure my trip to Durban. I just want to insure my cell phone whilst I go to the shop. And the ability for payment and technology and collections to fundamentally evolve, we'll see that demand coming. The customer really is king in that space. I think we also believe strongly that mobile and mobile first and digital and use of clients portals and self-service will be a theme that will come through strongly. So we really expect the client to be far more tech savvy going forward and to have and want immediate engagement, the ability to do much more things themselves than before. I think also clients and insurance companies per se will move to a far bigger emphasis on client experience mapping and understanding the client journey, looking at things like sentiment analysis and making sure you can proactively respond, anticipate needs. So the journey is far more about understanding the client. On the positive side, I think we'll have access to reach far more customers far more easily, and a real opportunity to expand the market into segments that were previously uninsured through the use of new technology. So a lot of opportunity to utilize new tools to fundamentally expand our sales and distribution footprints and reach. On the claims side, I think it's going to be a lot about the sensor revolution. So almost the self-automation or the self-logging of a claim without you intervening through the access and use of smart devices and telemetry. So we think that there'll be quite an evolution on the claim side around that. A strong move to segmentation and straight-through processing where absolutely nobody gets involved. So we've found out about a claim without any human intervention. You log it, we know it's real, we automatically settle the claim. So we think that the claims process, the sensor revolution, the ability to use telemetry and then straight-through processing to automate claims is going to create a far better client experience coming through on the claim side. In the claim side as well, I think the use of drones and access to technology through Google Maps, etc., gives us a far better view of the properties we are surveying, of the risk exposures we have. Drones, etc., will allow us to survey and assess risk a lot better, and then obviously settle claims. So I think there is going to be an evolution around how we respond to disasters, how we get rich information quickly, how we understand and examine areas where floods and disasters might have happened, and offer a greater level of customer service going forward in that space. And if we can make sure that the claims that we are paying outside are only the valid claims, then the whole cost of insurance becomes cheaper. So the utilization of data, the access to information, the ability to really understand risk and respond quickly to disasters and claims events ultimately should result in a better understanding of fraud and only the payment of the valid claim, ultimately making insurance more accessible and a better value offering for all our clients over time. Artificial intelligence is also going to help a lot in our segmentation of a claim. So making sure that we only deploy an assessor when we really need to, that we utilize better digital technology to know share phones and not necessarily have to put you through a whole series of hoops around where to go and how to go, and those processes will happen a lot quicker and a lot faster. I think that going forward, the kind of people we employ in our industry, we need to think about that. We need to consider the war for talent. We need to consider what kind of skills our insurance industry really is going to need going forward, how we attract those skills, the kind of offering we have within our businesses to retain those skills over a period of time, how we reward the staff. So again, our business is a relationship business. It's about people. People still decide what technology to use. People still decide how to use that technology, when to use that technology. So the hunt is on for people, and we cannot forget the importance of good people in our business.
And what does this mean for intermediaries?
So what this means for intermediaries is we've got to accept the fact that the market is changing, and how we do business really needs to change. But there's a real positive in my mind for intermediaries. There's a fundamental explosion of risk and complexity. Never more has the market that we've been in been more risky or more complex. So the need for advice has never been more. But I do think that we need to recognize that over a period of time, the value point in a broking offering is probably going to shift from intermediation to the real value of advice and advocacy. Advice is about unpacking that complexity, making sure insurance solutions are tailored for you. It's fine as a customer to say, oh, I've got 5 offerings, but which one is best for you? Instead of saying, here's the best solution tips, here are the 3 best solutions. This one can help you with that one can help you with this, and this one does this best for you. Which one would you like? Oh, I'm not so sure. Let me help you make a decision. So shifting from just the sales process, the intermediation component, I think there'll be a value shift towards the advice and advocacy. Advocacy talks to the fact that who stands on my side when I have a claim? The promise of insurance is to deliver the claim. But if I'm insuring myself direct and I don't really know, and I've got this great robotics tool up front and I'm sold, I've bought this product, but I don't actually really understand it, and now I've got a problem, I want somebody to speak to. That's advocacy. That's somebody who stands in my corner, who stands beside me and fights with my insurer to get the value that I've bought. So I think this whole focus around the move to advice and advocacy is where intermediaries really need to make sure they understand their own client journeys, their own customer experience solutions, a real focus on the needs analysis into the record of advice, and then standing by their customer when we go forward into offering solutions to customers out there. So good news for the broker, but a need for change. Some other things I think brokers need to really consider adopting seriously is the use of digital themselves. Digital is a great tool to expand reach, to access new markets, and to lower costs. So adopt digital, use it in your business, find ways to keep your engagement with your customers high, to penetrate new markets, to really build and entrench that relationship. That's how you can discharge that sense of I am on your side, I am the human still in the value chain. Being human still offers a lot of value in the business. We do probably see a phase out of a lot of the binder type business models that we do see out in the market in favor of outsourcing. I think the more complex the rating rules, the data and all that sort of thing happens in the back end, the more difficult it is for brokers to replicate that themselves through binder models. We see the growth of platforms where entering data once, you get multiple quotes, brokers focusing really on the client engagement, offering that advice, ensuring advocacy is there and the human touch, but relying on the insurers to provide accurate pricing, best price, ensuring engagement between the brokers and the insurance companies remains important. But I think the way that we interact in the market going forward, we'll need the insurers to really be good at being an insurer, and the brokers to really be good at understanding their client needs and positioning that well with the insurers to optimize the solutions ultimately for the customer in the day. But I think it's a really exciting time going forward. And from a Santam perspective, we remain so committed to the intermediary. We want to change the world with you, and we're confident that we're going to do so going forward. Thanks for your time.